So at number 3, and I think some people who are watching right now might turn this video off when I say this guy at number 3, but I want you to hear me out. It's Carson Beck from Miami. And now at Miami, coming in from Georgia, obviously. Beck was the top quarterback in the country entering the year last year. He was PFF's number 1 quarterback in America going into the year. Did not have the best year at Georgia this past year. I know that. But he had, of course, he had 20 turnover-worthy plays that were tied for the 6th most in the country. He was forcing the ball a lot last year because the Bulldogs, like Penn State, did not have a very good receiving core. You lost Brock Bowers, you lost Ladd McConkey, and they really, really missed them this past year. Still had an 80.2 passing grade this past year. And Georgia last year had 31 drops on the season. That was tied for the 2nd most in the Power 4. Over the last 2 years, Beck has a 90.9 passing grade, or PFF overall grade. 2nd best of any quarterback returning to college football right now. So going over to Miami, looking to have the same kind of bounce back like Cam Ward had, where he became the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. Beck probably saw that and said, okay, maybe I could do the same thing there at Miami as well. I still think Carson Beck is one of the top quarterbacks in college football. I understand this past year was not very pretty at Georgia, but I think a lot of it had to do with the underwhelming receiving core they had at Georgia as well. He's still a very, very good quarterback in college football. And I think his last 2 years of work, and even this past year at Dalton, I don't think it was as bad as people think it was this past year. Carson Beck is still one of the top quarterbacks in the country, in my opinion.
Struggles in big moments because you mentioned the receiving core was down, and struggles at offensive tackle as well with the protection. That's where I want to go with this with Carson Beck. Look, when he's protected and conditions are ideal, he's as good as any quarterback in the country, a 90 clean pocket passing grade last year. When he's not protected, he's under pressure. There's not a whole lot of mobility, even less so than a guy I mentioned earlier in Garrett Nussmeier. Beck really does not move much. 30 passing grade under pressure. That's what it's going to be. If Miami can protect him consistently all year, just as they did for Cam Ward last year, Beck could be fantastic. Now, he's not going to improvise as much as Ward. I don't expect him to have necessarily a Cam Ward type of season because Ward had a Heisman-worthy season, and there was just a couple other guys ahead of him that were special in Hunter and Ginty. But you're talking about somebody who could succeed. And now look, let's be real, especially defensively, aside from Clemson, you're taking a step down when it comes to the defenses you're facing every week from the SEC to the ACC. So as long as he's protected, he's a lightning-quick processor. He's accurate. He makes the throws. The delivery is clean, especially over the middle of the field. He throws the football really well and accurately. I just think that's what it comes down to is Georgia and maybe even their fans just didn't quite appreciate what they had in Carson Beck, and we'll find out with their quarterback situation with Gunnar Stockton or whoever what that might look like. But when Beck is clean, as good as anybody in the country, you just have to keep him clean often because there's not a whole lot of improvising that's going to happen with him. It's not going to be the same like it was with Cam Ward last year, but he can deliver strikes from the pocket when he is protected.
Yeah, I want to remind people again, this is a ranking of college football quarterbacks, not quarterbacks for the NFL draft next year. I think we had Beck a little bit lower in our draft rankings for next year.
6, maybe?
6, something like that.
6.
Yeah, so again, draft-wise, he's a little bit lower on this list, but college football-wise, next year, I still think Carson Beck is one of the elite quarterbacks. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.